years old. See ati ni kitu ya sahi. It is over 7 years old. It's an old rhetoric. Open the server. After 2017 tulikuwa tunaambia open the servers. I think we are joking. There must be another route to solve these issues. And solving these issues is not about dialogue or agreeing to dialogue with the devil. That's a mistake. If we believe we have the evidence, it is the high time we did a dialogue within ourselves of how to make that presentation authentic, and we present it to the masses of the people. We can even have a whole day we go to KICC to present that data, not even KICC, or even we go to Uhuru Park. If we believe this election was stolen and we have evidence, that evidence can be broadcast the whole day in Uhuru Park. Pale tu watu tu wakionyeshwa the whole day. Na hiyo siku hata baba mwenyewe aitangaze ni holiday. But why can't we work with that data? Mtu anatumianga kile kitu wako nayo. But Makiadi, as long as we are talking about the cost of living na hizi vitu zingine, we are just passing time slowly. We are just passing time slowly. And it is so sad that we are dragging Kenyans to 2027 and nothing is going to be resolved. It is so sad. And if that is the strategy, this nation is going to break. In 2027, even as Zakayo plans how to steal the election more, Azimio will be shrinked. Azimio will be shrinked. Zakayo has power, he can steal the election. But Azimio will be unable to mount another candidate because we will lose total trust from people, and we can lose it. But how we handle this thing, how we can dispose Zakayo as somebody who is dishonest, and how we can do it scientifically. Me, I don't want theory. That is the problem which we have, theory and the talks. If these things can be done with proven scientific methods, which can be synthesized even to the layman people, they can help the citizenry too much. But the problem which we have is that if our general concept is to take people to 2027, Bwana Makiandi, as I finish, I want to tell you, the big losers of these things will be Azimio. Anything towards 2027, the big losers will be Azimio. Zakayo will steal the election. Zakayo has no problem. He will still have the concept. And there is no any reforms which can be brought as per now, which can prevent elections from being stolen. The only reform you can bring is, first of all, calling for justice and calling out the thieves and showing it, and those thieves suffering consequences of what they did. So the first thing we are supposed to do is let's show how the steal happened. Then number two, all the culprits who ensured the steal was done, we sentence them, we take them to jail. Then the person who got presidency illegally, we sentence him. That is how these things are supposed to work. I don't understand. Like, we are talking with the criminals, we are dining with the criminals, yet these people are supposed to be in jail. I think we are not serious. We have to start working from somewhere. Wacha niongee story ya mwisho sasa ili nikulete. I don't want to talk about these things, but Bwana Makiandi, if our principals are hearing us, we have to become serious in our truth, in our dynamics of making Zakayo realize that he is a criminal. We cannot be saying that Zakayo is a criminal in social media, and the guy is still devouring us, and he is getting all the respect from all the people wakimuita president, but the guy is busy devouring us. I think we have to get this stage much higher. We are too basic. In other words, that's what I would say. I would conclude that we are too basic. And if we are basic, you cannot fight a cult by just being normal. We have to go in other dimensions. You cannot like when you are when you want to you have to go into isometric view and other dimensions. We are too basic to work with a cult. You don't work with a cult the way we are working. The issue of Mushele is the advancement of the same cult. It's nothing more than that. Just tell me which people in this world would be so proud of their leader coming to their home, and the only thing which is coming to them ni kuwapikia hapo. There is a problem. And it's a mental dwarfism which is with our people, and we have to call it. These people should be asking for jobs na vitu zingine, sio ati story ati munaenda pale munaanikwa kwa jua the whole day, alafu the only thing munafanywa ni kupewa mchere hapo. Then these people, they are there explaining what they are doing. If they are working, you don't explain what you are doing. It is evident. Watu wanaona. We start seeing it even in our GDP. I don't know if Makiadi, if you have been able to see our GDP. Our GDP is shrinking. So how is Zakai working? And GDP should always momentarily, GDP increases because population increases with the time. So when you see that your GDP is shrinking, it shows that you are becoming poorer because you are sharing those resources with a much more increased population over time. That is a problem, things which even citizens can see. But these people with mental dwarfism, who cannot be, who are very happy to go and eat muchele, which you can actually cook for yourself, it's a facade. So, Bwana Richie, I think the only way in which we can help Kenyans before this malaria becomes large scale, and you can see this guy, he has not even gone to the day when he went to Kapenguri or where. Hakupika muchere huko. He did not pick for even where he is going, even in Nyanza, he did not cook for people there. So I don't understand why in Mount Kenya people, they are being, it's an Esau spirit. That's how you call it. It's an Esau spirit, whereby somebody lures you with food and it takes your birthright. That is what is happening to these people. Esau spirit has just landed in Mount Kenya region. And I want to say this one categorically, Bwana Richie, because I don't want to lie to people here. Uhuru Kenyatta was the last leader in Mount Kenya area. And I want to say that although we do not balkanize or localize people, any place can produce a leader. But I want to tell you that we can finish another 100 years before Mount Kenya region raises an astute, eloquent leader who can speak sense. It might take another 100 years. Mount Kenya might become the land of idiots in large scale. I'm done.
Mr. Change or Die, there's somebody called Engineer Kipkurui who says that all those who are against Dr. Ruto are busy destroying themselves. Azimio should wait for 2032 to oppose Rigathi Gachagua. So inakwambia the game plan has already been played. But I want to ask you one thing here. As we wait for Kenyan with Love to come here. Sijui kama uko na admin rights, Change or Die. Hauna. I also don't have admin rights. Kuna watu walikuwa nataka ongezwe hapa. Engineer Kipkurui, I agree with what you're saying. But I don't agree with what the part of your statement that says are destroying each other, because for once you should understand that Azimio is not in power right now. It is William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua that are in power right now. To the extent that they're in power right now, we have realized, and I know you are one of the people that have realized that the Kenya Kwanza administration has no plan. It has no plan. It had no plan. And going forward, it has no plan at all. So when you tell us that they are destroying each other, nashangaa ni nani anakuwa destroyed. Azimio must remain relevant. And as much as I can see right now, they are doing all their best to make sure that Nabii and his bosom buddy, mtu wa mchele na nyama, are not going to destroy the country the way they expected they will destroy the country. They are being kept on toes. And that is what we call politics. You must make sure that your opponent feels the heat. Right now, ukiangalia Nabii, Change or Die, you tell me. These guys are not comfortable. And that is why they will never settle down to work for Kenyans. That is why unawaona kila siku wako juu ya magari, wamekimbia Mount Kenya region, wameenda kupiga siasa huko wakisema ya kwamba tutapanga mipango ya maendeleo kutoka hapa, because this is the heartbeat of the seat of government, all these things, because they know very well that somebody else somewhere is strategizing. When you are a politician, you strategize for the next opponent. Wakati mwenzako wako chini, you hit kwa kichwa ndio mmalize kabisa. In fact, if change, you are saying here that we should produce a bombshell. If this bombshell don't come soon, and Nabi is lucky enough to finish the first term, which sometimes I tend to doubt kama atamaliza, then we should be ready ya kwamba we are not going to give these people another chance, whether it's through election, whether it's through any means possible. These people are not even candidates that should be allowed to run for election in a republic such as Kenya, because for one, they do not believe even in the election process, and that is why they can use any means possible, whether it means paying the judges, like you said, buying the IBC commissioners, and using any other means possible to make sure that they get the seat. These people are not, these people are not even supposed to be allowed to run for election. These are thugs. Kenya right now is a laughing stock all over the country, all over the republic, all over the continent of Africa, because it looks like we chose our worst in the society to lead us. The development plan that Kenya had as a country is no longer even visible anywhere, because people are doing things that were not expected to be done at this particular stage. So we have transformed our country from what we once believed was a democratic country, whereby you could speak about anything anywhere na hakuna mtu atakuguza. We are even worse than Uganda right now, because even if you post something on social media, now they are coming for you in your house, and you are being arrested, unapelekwa mahali bila kufikishwa kotini 3-4 days, like they did with Maina Njenga and all the other Azimio MPs, because they are afraid. They feel vulnerable. And change or die, I agree with you. We should put pressure on these people as much as possible, every day, every week, until we make sure that these people break. These are brittle guys. They pretend to be very hard on the outside, but they are really soft on the inside. Paper tigers. Any moto ya makaratasi, na I'm sure if we continue pressing on them like this, hakuna mahali wataenda. I'll give you another opportunity.
There's something I wanted to say. Bwana Richi, you know, nasikia Kipkurui hapo anaongea. You see, we are talking about our country here. Na hakuna, we are not talking here hapa tukiwa na chuki ama nini. In fact, some of the things which we talk here, Kenya Kwanza can take if they want, if they think they can help them. We are saying here because it's an evaluation which we are doing, and when people are doing evaluation, they can pick if they want. But you have to be genuine and conscious on what you're doing. But what I never like about Kenya Kwanza, they have some slavery mentality of people. That is what I don't like. You know, when you want to know a government is functioning, the leadership, it is not the work of the leadership to come and tell you the government is functioning. The common mwananchi is the one who tells you his perception and his feeling and how his pocket is changing. Like, for example, if I want to gauge how Ruto government is working, I do not need to go and ask Ruto. No, I need to go, I can go to in Kapenguria Makutano, I just sample a random wazee wawili hapo. I go in Homa Bay, I sample some 2 guys there. I go in Hembu, I sample some 2 guys there. It is their field, including what is happening in their pocket. That is what gives you the impetus of how a government is functioning. But you need to know that leaders are always liars. And that is one of the things which I was not even agreeing even with some of the politicians, even in other countries, who even I have ever supported previously. Because I do not believe that a politician can be able to represent the true perspective of human feelings. Whereas that they are the same people who are afflicting pain to these people. One time, Ben Carson said that politicians are the natural problems of the problems which face masses, yet they pretend to be the solution of those problems. But it will be so good when the populace will understand that politicians are the source of their problems. Paraphrased from Dr. Carson. So what I'm trying to say is that governance satisfaction is bottom up. You are the It is bottom up. You have to go to the people. And there are some surveys which have been done. I had like finance bill was having 70% support from Kenyans. 93% of Kenyans were opposed to it. Maybe I could be away from numbers, but I had like Kenyans, the owners of capital, because the owners of capital does not belong to judges and some few bureaucrats who actually Ruto even claims that he is against them. In fact, Ruto is a pro-bureaucrat. Why? He is telling people you can bring choppers without tax. Who can afford a chopper? Chopper goes for 300 million, 100 million. Hata ile imechapa second hand ni kama 50. How many Kenyans can buy that? Those are bureaucrats, cartels, dynasties. Those are the people now. So sometimes politicians have a mentality of talking what they don't do, like talking in reverse. I understand that is the work of politicians. So sometimes that's why they don't understand us. And especially when you are dealing with perennial politicians, people who have been in power from 90s, who have just been jogging from one seat to the other one, jogging from one seat to the other one. So their entire art is cheating. And let me tell you, and I want to be candid about this. Naturally, politics is captured, but the degree of capture is one which is different. So sometimes when you hear Ruto explaining something, like today I was hearing him when he was speaking, and by the way, Kirerembe, just as tumesema, Kirerembe ni moto ya haraka ya kuisha. That is what Kirerembe means. So that station which brings Kirerembe means ni moto ya haraka na kuisha na kupotea. So I heard them what they were saying. Those journalists did a very poor job. It is kind of, they were not asking questions which are diverse. Yes, I understand, like they talked too much about hustler fund, and then he praised that watu wa Nyeri wanachukua hustler fund kuliko watu wengine Kenya mzima. If hustler fund was a good fund, it should be homogeneous. It should be having the same ripple effect everywhere. And if hustler fund is helping people, I don't think that even Azimio supporters will care to even get a fund which is helping them. I don't think they will care if a fund is good. There are so many places whereby we go and collect money. So I do not need to hear that this region in a copper sana kuliko gide. If this fund was customized and tailored well, it should be homogeneous everywhere. I should be seeing people in Homa Bay wanakopa, people in Marsabit wanakopa vizuri, because kila mtu akona shida. And if they believe that it is having a small rebates to pay or small interest, so I think, and right now watu wana pesa, so I am expecting that hiyo pesa watu wanafaa kukua akikopa sana. But why is it that it is regionalized? That statement was categoric. Let me tell you, Zakayo is a mind mover. That issue of saying Nyeri, it was targeted because he was in Nyeri, so that's why he said Nyeri. So at times maybe there could be data which I don't deny, but the truth of the matter is that was a targeted statement. That's what we call in politics targeted statement. Statements to soothe. Sometimes it's not a serious statement. Ni kama ile it's just like the same statement unasikianga mtu akikwambia ile wakati umekutana na mtu na huyo mtu hata mjakutana naye kwa miaka 2, unasikia mtu akikwambia na nilikuwa nakufikiria jana. I don't know if Richie, you have had those issues from people. I was in fact, hata venye tumekutana na wewe leo nilikuwa nakufikiria jana. And the truth of the matter is that you are not thinking about that person. They are just mere statements which we put because we have gotten an opportunity to interact with somebody now who is closer to us. Ama it is the same statement unasikianga watu wakisema, ama tuseme or you are in Kapenguria in West Pokot. Ukisikia mtu akisema, mtu akiwa West Pokot, unasikia mtu akisema sijawahi kutana na watu wengine wanakaa kama watu wa West Pokot. Have never met with good people like people in West Pokot. Richie Makiadi, do you believe in that statement?
You know, I've said here so many times, and I repeat again. If you follow the history and the way William Ruto speaks like somebody called a snake oil salesman. And I gave a story here one day. If you have ever traveled to Western Kenya using buses, there are those people who sell something called aloe vera, and they put it in a very small bottle. Wanapandia basi mahali inaitwa Naivasha, watashukia basi Nakuru. Na Nakuru, they will tell you, watakudescribia vile hiyo mafuta wameitumia for muda mrefu, atapaka, atakuonyesha demonstration ya vile atapaka, anajipaka vizuri, anakuambia mafuta imefanya ngozi yake ikakuwa salama. And then before you reach, akifika pale mahali kama Gilgil hapo, anajua sasa masaa imeanza kukaribia kuisha, anasema amebaki na chupa peke yake. And then fanyia kwa bei ambayo ni mzuri, bei ya kufunga, kwa sababu ilikuwa ni sample. Next time mkirudi mtapata niko na stock. So he starts selling at 50 bob, and everybody now wants to rush achukue hiyo mafuta ya 50 shillings. So everybody kwa basi, it has happened to me. Okay, sijanunua lakini nimeona ikifanyika nikitravel going hiyo direction. So kila mtu anachomoa 50-50 haraka haraka. Ule jamaa anauza mafuta 5. So everybody mnaangalia, mnakuta ala, kumbe mafuta imeisha. So watu wanasema sasa tunaweza kupata namna gani? So the guy goes pale kwa carrier pale ya basi, anafungua, anachomoa bag, anatoa mafuta zingine kama 20. So he sells all this mafuta kwa kila mtu, bag yake inabaki empty. By the time anashuka Nakuru, amemaliza ile stock ya mafuta, amepatia conductor share yake. So they give conductor labda soda or 100 bob. Alafu anaruka pande ile ingine ya barabara. So he was going to Western, hii barabara kwenda, anaruka pande ile ingine. Sasa ako pande ile ingine, anapanda basi yenye itamrudisha Nakuru, because this guy lives in, itamrudisha Naivasha because this guy lives in Naivasha. So ile basi ya kwenda Naivasha anapanda tena ndani, same process, anawauzia hope, anawauzia mafuta, anawadanganya imebaki kidogo, mnatoa pesa, mnangangania. By the time anafika Naivasha, atakuwa ameuza hiyo bag mzima na siku yake imejaa, anaenda nyumbani. That is called a snake oil salesman. William Ruto is the same guy. Ni yule mtu atawapatia ile kitu mnataka kusikia, like you are saying change. Anakuja kwenu Nyeri, anawaambia bei ya majani, tumeongea na watu wa maziwa, tumesema by end of next month, 2 months to come, we are planning to fungua 600 milk cooling plants, and everybody claps. Then 1 month later, amepotea. He will come back there, atawapatia another hope, because you have forgotten ya kwamba alikuwa amewaahidi nini? Milk cooling plants. So he comes back with another promise, telling you people, sasa saa hii tumeongea na serikali sijui ya Ethiopia, tutakuwa tunapeleka majani chai huko. Alafu mnapiga makofi kama washenzi. Mumesahau mlidanganywa milk cooling plants. You start clapping at another new promise. Anatoka Nyeri, anaenda Kisii. You know what he promised people in Kisii? He promised people in Kisii that he has talked to the German government, he has talked to the British government, he has spoke to the American government. Atakuwa na export a workforce into these countries. Watu wataenda kufanya kazi kule nje, and then people will clap and be happy. And then he will move from Kisii and move to another region, aende kupatiana. And then you ask yourself, bwana change, Which kind of country are we in? Because people are being promised things every day, every day. Every day there's a new promise and people are not asking, na je bwana, zile vitu ambazo ulituahidi last time, kwa nini hujatimiza kabla uanze kutuahidi vitu zingine? Why are you not doing the things that you promised us the other day? And that is where we are as a country. I don't know if it's being brainwashed. I don't know if it's a cult. Perhaps there's something else that is going in our country that we do not know. Because what I saw yesterday in Mount Kenya, I've never seen in my life. I've never seen, I mean, I have many people from Mount Kenya as my friends. I have never seen the kind of degrading behavior or character that I saw yesterday, where people will be opened, will be allowed to come into the state lodge, will sit down, and then they will say, unajua nini, sisi tumeshiba, hii ni dalili ya serikali kufanya mambo makuu, na tunatarajia baada ya kukula ugali na kukula mchele na nyama, mambo ingine mzuri itafuata. There is where we are as a country. You feel nimekuona vizuri sana kwa comment section. Thank you for saying hi. Alafu pia kuna travel with Fred, anasema nimefufuka, niko tu nafuatilianga show kwa karibu sana. Yes, love. Na sijui Mato yuko
Okay.
Kuna watu wanataka kujoin hapa show na sioni mtu yeyote. Mimi sina moderation nini bana.
Sawa, hata mimi sina moderation. Okay, wacha hata mimi nimalize statement tuachie wengine waongee. I will want to come tomorrow, but I wanted to talk something now regarding to what you have said. You know, I take a lot of time to listen to politics, and I think African politics has a problem. I take a lot of time to listen to politics, Bwana Richi, and some of us we take time to also do some comparative note with other nations. I listen to Indian TVs just for information. I listen to Indian TVs. I listen to Republic. I listen to people
Church die. Poleni sana Aki, I'm so sorry. I'm working so many things. Pole bro. Na Aki
yangu ni kuache ulale.
Hapana, niko hapa sasa, niko hapa.
Okay, kesho nitakuletea kikoi hapo.
La kibure kabisa. Huyu jamaa ametuacha studio na akajifunika hapo akalala.
Hapana bro.
Watu wanataka kuingia kina Mr. Jindi hawa hawezi.
No, Mr. Jindi ako ndani kama kawa. Thank you Richie.
Okay, nipo. Wacha nimalizie Richie ndani Mr. Jindi achukulia. So
usinde mahali wewe, wacha siasa, niseme mahali kana sisi.
I watch Australians, I watch American, I watch, at least I watch other countries. That is my way of also I try to compare. But I think in Africa we have a problem, and there is something which I want as maybe somebody need to tell me here. Does presidency work through promising? Like for example, if a president understands the needs and what people need to do, does a president need to come and ambie watu hapa no, it is something I'm trying to ask, because, and I've even watched the many speeches of presidents even as far as 1945, even where some of these countries had not developed. So I think in Africa we have a problem. I do not think a president should be working and think that hapa tutakuja tuweke hii, hapa tutakuwa tuweke hii. I think presidency has a master plan, has a roadmap, and they know the project which needs to fit to each other in whichever area. So, but I understood why African presidents have to work this way, because that is the only way in which you can be able to build a psycho-fancy presidency, a presidency which is remote controlled, and a presidency which you can be able to do project maneuvering depending with how you feel. Because if projects were like put in like in a master plan, he project tutaweka hapa, he project tutaweka hapa, so depending with how you feel about those people, you can move those projects. I understand that's the reason why in Africa we do that. Like we do not want to have stable and robust working platform. And for your information, I still do not understand why in the 21st century we have remote or maybe what we call semi-arid areas in our country. Projects are supposed to be distributed uniformly everywhere. Like you cannot skew projects to specific areas in the name like of these are shareholders, they need to get more. That is where we get it wrong. Like you need to, because I believe, and to some extent, Muzungu did a good job in our government, and I want to say Muzungu did a good job to develop the first initial master plan and understanding what was needed. To some extent, they did a good job in that. Although we do not agree with how they handled our people, how they raped our people, we don't but at least there are some things which at least Muzungu had some roadmap. And sometimes I do not understand why some of our politicians are not able to fit their thinking and their manifestos towards a natural platform of the whole country. You nchi ni yako. You, even as you think that you want to rule very rich Kikuyu people, the Turkana people who cannot access water, who do not have boreholes, which cost like 5 million, and you are saying maybe wanaweza jengewa na county, you still govern them. So what I want us to do as a country, we have to distribute our development with a master plan depending with the need of the people. Like for example, if you are president, people should not be begging you for projects or for things to be done. Things have to be done everywhere, and it is illegal and a human right violation when people do not have food, when people do not have water, when people have bad life. Like some of the places which we call arid and semi-arid areas, those people, they are actually supposed to prosecute the government. You cannot be in the 21st century. You cannot be living in places which do not have tapped water. I think if we had like serious human rights action groups, and it's not a must you depend with these NGOs which sometimes do not have money, but a country which is talking that a country which is saying that this place is remote, we cannot take this type of things here. I think there's a lot of disservice to African government, and that is one mentality which Africans have to change. I do not believe in localization. I do not believe in semi-aridity. Like we cannot do developments here. We are skewing developments only to one area, and more so this advanced level of shareholder. For your information, Rigathi Gachagua was supposed to be prosecuted for saying that their government will only work in areas which voted for them. That was a human violation. You cannot do that because a government works on the borders. That means if you're not forcing development in some areas, it means you're also forcing poverty in those areas. You are causing those people to reduce in their lifestyle and so many other things. So in a nutshell, as I conclude, we are now having a government which is skewed towards only the people they perceive they voted them. And I want somebody to come here and tell me, I want to know projects which they are doing in Ukambani. I want to know the projects which they will be launching in the Lake region. I want to know the projects which they are doing in Western region. Makiadi, you are from Western. I want you to tell me serious projects which can affect large scale people. Usiniambie project in affect kijiji. I want you to tell me, because government works in serious project, a project which will like benefit 50,000 people. That's what we do. Like I want you uniambie hapa muko na Musalia Mudavadi, the coconut head kwa serikali. I want you to tell me which projects are happening in Western, which projects are happening in rural region, which projects are happening in Turkana. Then from there now we can now say these people are doing anything. For your information, when Julia was here, nilisikia akitukonfirmia even the Sagana Marua Road, which was supposed to be the longest dual carriageway in Kenya, ni kama ijaisha. It started during Uhuru time. That was a wonderful project if it could have come into fruition. So in a nutshell, we are just having people who do not understand the mechanistic of how people should work when they have a government. It is a government works everywhere, and the project should be distributed everywhere. And the Kenyans, we have to rise to levels where, but I thank God, vile watu wanaenda wakisoma, very soon we will start prosecuting this government. Somebody cannot deny you maendeleo in the name that you never voted for them. Once you capture power, hatutaki kujua. Things have to be everywhere. Even Turkana, even actually the way Turkana people have been mistreated, and some of the people who stay in those arid areas, we have put those people in very bad lifestyle for so long. We are not supposed to have a semi-arid area. You can do anything. You can do boreholes, you can do roads, you can have a sun, you can do wind power. So there is no any justification of people staying in deprived lifestyle. How watu hawawezi kula ati simply because they are in desert conditions. Na sio kila saa tunaanzia kuwekelea climate change. Climate change still in Africa doesn't have that extreme issues like in other countries. Yes, climate change could be there, but I do not believe that entirely we are being affected by it. There are some things which we can use human intervention and we beat what climate change is doing. So these ideas of whereby people are staying in deprived lifestyle, they are staying in pre-medieval time lifestyle is wrong. And we have to take those good life through good governance na bila kubagua watu wote. I discredit any government which want to only work for specific people. I discredit. So kama Ruto anaenda kupikia watu Mount Kenya, next time akienda Turkana, he needs to cook for them. Akienda Nyanza, he needs to cook for them. But he cannot treat some people to be special than others. It is one country. If at any case he thinks he is a leader, but because he is not, that is why he has to behave that way. Mr. G, go ahead.
All right, change or die. Thank you so much, Mr. G. Naona Philip Mugoi pale amewasili pia pale kwa comment section. Good to see you. Good to hear from you, my brother. Mr. G, karibu. Tena Kenyan with love ametoroka bana. This guy is very busy leo na ni Monday already. Sijui amepotelea wapi bana. Watu wanataka kuingia hapa na yeye ndiye ako na rights peke yake za kuadmit watu, sijui anapotelea wapi. Mr. G, uko karibu ama uko job?
Yeah, niko karibu Mr. Makiadi. Happy to see you. Nakusalimia na Mr. Njiru. I came in when you were passionate talking about ile issue ya kupatiana evidence kwa court. So before you go, I just wanted to have some talks hapa upande wa those evidence, kwa sababu the same issue I raised sometimes back na watu wakakuwa wakali sana hapa, sijua kuelewa nini, and I can agree with your sentiment Mr. Njiru. For us, even though we issued evidence juzi ya servers, but we lack some full evidence kama kitu kama ile form 34A ambapo I expected by the time we were giving that evidence tungekuwa tunawapatia pia na form 34A originals na tunamwambia angalia, this is what our
kuokoka. Njia ya kuokoka ni munataka kurudi kwa moto, munataka kuokoka. Munataka kuokoka. Njia ya kuokoka ni Baba. Nawaambia.
Mlikataa Raila. Raila alikuwa mtu wa kwanza kulilia watu. Raila ndio mwenye kuongoza hii nchi. Mpende.
Muniache niunge Raila kwa amani. Na mimi naambia nyinyi watu wa Azimio, hapa Rift Valley tuko pamoja, petition ile ya pesa 8. Dawa ya hii Kenya ni pesa
is good enough. And during that 90 days of solving the presidential dispute, if there is, the sitting president to just continue, just as it has been. But for me, I think these issues of 14 days is what which makes people to just rush. They go to bribe people, they go to do what? We do not have like enough time. So like unakuta like I watch Australians, I watch American, I watch at least I watch other countries. That is what my way of also I try to compare. But I think in Africa we have a problem. And there is something which I want as maybe somebody need to tell me here. Does presidency work through promising? Like, for example, if a president understands the needs and what people need to do, does a president need to come and ambia watu hapa tuta? No, it is something I'm trying to ask because, and I've even watched many speeches of presidents even as far as 1945, even where some of these countries are not developed. So I think in Africa we have a problem. I do not think a president should be working and think that hapa tutakuja tuweke hii, hapa tutakuwa tuweke hii. I think presidency has a master plan, has a roadmap, and they know the project which needs to fit to each other in whichever area. So, but I understood why African presidents have to work this way. Because that is the only way in which you can be able to build a psycho-fancy presidency. A presidency which is remote controlled. And a presidency which you can be able to do project maneuvering depending with how you feel. Because if projects were like put in like in a master plan, he project tutaweka hapa, he project tutaweka hapa. So depending with how you feel about those people, you can move those projects. I understand that's the reason why in Africa we do that. Like we do not want to have stable and robust working platform. And for your information, I still do not understand why in the 21st century we have remote or maybe what we call semi-arid areas in our country. Projects are supposed to be distributed uniformly everywhere. Like you cannot skew projects to specific areas in the name like of these are shareholders, they need to get more. That is where we get it wrong. Like you need to, because I believe, and to some extent, Muzungu did a good job in our government, and I want to say Muzungu did a good job to develop the first initial master plans and understanding what was needed. To some extent, they did a good job in that. Although we do not agree with how they handled our people, how they raped our people, we don't but at least there are some things which at least Muzungu had some roadmap. And sometimes I do not understand why some of our politicians are not able to fit their thinking and their manifestos towards a natural platform of the whole country. You even as you think that you want to rule very rich Kikuyu people, the Turkana people who cannot access water, who do not have boreholes, which cost like 5 million, and you are saying maybe wanaweza jengewa na county, you still govern them. So what I want us to do as a country, we have to distribute our development with a master plan depending with the need of the people. Like for example, if you are president, people should not be begging you for projects or for things to be done. Things have to be done everywhere, and it is illegal and a human right violation when people do not have food, when people do not have water, when people have bad life. Like some of the places which we call arid and semi-arid areas, those people, they are actually supposed to prosecute the government. You cannot be in the 21st century, you cannot be living in places which do not have tapped water. I think if we had like serious human rights action groups, and it's not a must you depend on NGOs, which sometimes do not have money. But a country which is talking that, a country which is saying that this place is remote, we cannot take this type of things here. I think it's a lot of disservice to African government. And that is one mentality which Africans have to change. I do not believe in localization. I do not believe in semi-arid. Like we cannot do developments here. And skewing developments only to one area. and more so this advanced level of shareholder. For your information, Rigathi Gachagua was supposed to be prosecuted for saying that their government will only work in areas which voted for them. That was a human violation. You cannot do that because a government works on the borders. That means if if you're not forcing development in some areas, it means you're also forcing poverty in those areas. You are causing those people to reduce in their lifestyle and so many other things. So in a nutshell, as I conclude, we are now having a government which is skewed towards only the people they perceive they voted them. And I want somebody to come here and tell me, I want to know projects which they are doing in Ukambani. I want to know the projects which they will be launched in the Lake region. I want to know the projects which they are doing in Western region. Makiadi, you are from Western. I want you to tell me serious projects which can affect large-scale people. Usiniambie project ina affect kijiji. I want you to tell me, because government works in serious project, a project which will like benefit 50,000 people. That's what we do. Like, I want you uniambie hapa muko na Musalia Mudavadi, the coconut head kwa serikali. I want you to tell me which projects are happening in Western, which projects are happening in rural region, which projects are happening in Turkana. Then from there now, we can now say these people are doing anything. For your information, when Julia was here, nilisikia akitukonfirmia even the Sagana Marua Road, which was supposed to be the longest dual carriageway in Kenya. Ni kama ijaisha, it started during Uhuru time. That was a wonderful project if it could have come into fruition. So in a nutshell, we are just having people who do not understand the mechanistic of how people should work when they have a government. It is simple. A government haibagui. A government works everywhere. And the project should be distributed everywhere. And the Kenyans, we have to rise to levels where, but I thank God, vile watu wanaenda wakisoma, very soon we will start prosecuting this government. Somebody cannot deny you maendeleo in the name that you never voted for them. Once you capture power, hatutaki kujua. Things have to be everywhere. Even Turkana, even actually the way Turkana people have been mistreated, and there's some of the people who stay in those arid areas, we have put those people in very bad lifestyle for so long. We are not supposed to have a semi-arid area. You can do anything. You can do boreholes, you can do roads, you can have a sun, you can do wind power. So there is no any just of people staying in deprived lifestyle. How watu hawezi kula simply because they are in desert conditions. Na sio kila saa tunaanzia kuwekelea climate change. Climate change is still in Africa doesn't have that extreme issues like in other countries. Yes, climate change could be there, but I do not believe that entirely we are being affected by it. There are some things which we can use human intervention and we beat what climate change is doing. So these ideas of whereby people are staying in deprived lifestyle, they are staying in pre-medieval time lifestyle is wrong. And we have to take those people to good life through good governance. Na bila kubagua watu wote. I discredit any government which want to only work for specific people. I discredit. So kama Ruto anaenda kupikia watu Mount Kenya, next time akienda Turkana, he needs to cook for them. Akienda Nyanza, he needs to cook for them. But he cannot treat some people to be special than others. It is one country. If at any case he thinks he is a leader, but because he is not, that is why he has to behave that way. Mr. G, go ahead.
All right, change or die. Thank you so much, Mr. G. Naona Philip Mugoi pale amewasili pia pale kwa comment section. Good to see you. Good to hear from you, my brother. Mr. G, karibu. Tena Kenyan with love ametoroka bana. This guy is very busy leo na ni Monday already. Sijui amepotelea wapi bana. Watu wanataka kuingia hapa na yeye ndiye ako na rights peke yake za kuadmit watu, sijui anapotelea wapi. Mr. G, uko karibu ama uko job?
Yeah, niko karibu Mr. Makiadi. Happy to see you. Nakusalimia na Mr. Njiru. I came in when you were passionate talking about ile issue ya kupatiana evidence kwa court. So before you go, I just wanted to have some talks hapa upande wa those evidence, kwa sababu the same issue I raised sometimes back na watu wakakuwa wakali sana hapa, sijua kuelewa nini, and I can agree with your sentiment, Mr. Njeru. For us, even though we issued evidence juzi ya servers, but we lack some full evidence kitu kama ile form 34A ambayo I expected by the time we were giving that evidence tungekuwa tunawapatia pia na form 34A originals, na tunawaambia angalia, this is what our clerks walitutumia wakiwa kule, but we never proved them with those form 34A copies za original ambazo tulikuwa nazo, so we lacked it. But now Njiru, when we talk about that evidence about tulipeana ya server haikuwa na any impact on your sides vile. Nikwenda tu nielewe kitu kidogo kwanza hapo. Kwa hiyo evidence ambayo tulipeana,
Okay, ask again.
Evidence ambayo tulipeana on server, was that not enough kabisa kupatiana reason kwa hii kesi iliibiwa, hii election yetu iliibiwa? The evidence on the server ambayo tulipeana.
Gotten. You see, the amount of time which in Kenya we have just the forensic audit to be done, and if I don't know, I know judges made their own decision based on the video walikuwa with their temperature at the time, but ile kitu iko is that when you have a very short window of determination, like now here, which is 14 days, you only need to give evidence which is very extreme. It has a confidence of close to 100%. But because if like you have 6 months, you'll have all the luxury. But when you have a window of 2 weeks, and that's why for me, I disagree with this window of 14 days to say that within 14 days, 14 days it is enough to solve the presidential dispute. Why? Because 14 days, what it makes people to do, it makes people to do things in a rush. And hata saa zingine documents zikifanywa saa zingine sijui, it is mostly like just printing obvious documents. So to me, I think we need to discuss a more rigorous process of solving a presidential dispute. And me, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking that we can, for me, I think 90 days is good enough. And during that 90 days of solving the presidential dispute, if there is, the sitting president to just continue, just as it has been. But for me, I think these issues of 14 days is what it makes people to just rush. They go to bribe people, they go to do what? We do not have like enough time. So like unakuta like we are now being glued to the TV kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni, tunafuata vile maroya pale sijui wanafuata, like this 14 days. History will come and judge. Hii statement nimesema hapa, 14 days is not enough for a concrete serious case which can bring satisfaction to both parties. I think to us it is suckers we do. The Supreme Court in Kwanza, the Supreme case to me is suckers. It is just satisfying the ego of an election steal. To me, the 14 days is a rubber stamp for a stolen election. To me.
Thank you, Mr. Njeru. You know, I have asked myself those questions kwa sababu utapata like in our last election ambayo tulikuwa nao ile ya Supreme Court, we gave them 14 days, but kulingana na our own evidence ambayo tulipeana pale, to me I believe it was enough to cancel that election and to call for a rerun. Because first of all, tunaambiwa kuwa Chebukati himself told those commissioners kuwa the form 34A book 2 will not be used na ikatumika, but our judges say that nini hizi kulikuwa na police stations ambazo zilikuwa bado hazijapeana results zao. By that time alikuwa anatangaza, na Chebukati mwenyewe alituambia kwa we had an extra 1 day ambao wangeketi wakatoa full information ndo akatangaza.
Mr. G, wacha nikuongeze kitu. You see, hii wizi ya uchaguzi ya 2022, if you try to discuss it, it was a textbook still. It was something with a start and an end. I want to tell you, I don't know if ukienda kufanya hesabu kama if you know kitu inaitangwa forward and backward substitution. So forward and backward substitution is where you know the answer you begin by knowing the answer you want. So by now, and that answer you want, you put it within the processes, and you ensure you get that answer. That is the problem. So like the steal of 2022, it was well planned and well orchestrated. It is there, but the only thing in which this steal can be proved is if you have concrete document. But if you go and use the same document from IEBC, they will discredit you. So like there were those forms which I just want to ask you a question. Kulikuwa na hizo forms zilikuwa na Kamago. Hizo forms zilikuwa zinaonyeshana signature ya Kamago hapo, and they were in IBC. So the question which I was asking myself, if this how did the code or niulize hiyo form how did the code decide that that form was authentic? Sababu mimi niliziona na zilikuwa kwa mtandao. Were they true forms?
No, they were not true forms. They were not real. In fact, the court admitted that hiyo kitu ilikuwa na issue. Now our question ni pale, kwa nini wakaallow the president ambao ako sahihi? And yet ukiangalia kwa that petition walikubali wakasema hapa kuna shida. In fact, wakati tulikuwa tuna represent our issue, it was evidence that this was an issue. Na wakakubali kwa kuna issue.
But remember, out of 8 out of 9 issues, 8 out of 9 issues, they said they had no magnitude of a scale of you see what these justices were doing. One minute. One thing which these judges were doing, it was a methodological concept to avert a rerun. That was their mandate, and that's what they were there to do. So they had to make sure that every threshold which doesn't warrant any punishment, and that is what made us to suffer this thing. And the question which I ask myself, do you think Supreme Court judgment on a presidential election or Supreme Court process of a presidential election, especially when there is a dispute, do you think it is relevant? Now to solve this thing?
We need another method, but Mato had something to tell us. Mato, before we continue, hebu sema nini ulikuwa unataka kutuambia?
Si hata kitu ya kuambia, nilikuwa nataka kuuliza both of you guys, and hata mwenye anatusikiza saizi. Thank you Richie, sorry, si ati nilikuwa nakimbia, is just that unajua weekend venye kunaendanga hapa hivi kuna kuna mtu kuna kamtu kananisumbua hapa hivi, but I'm very grateful umekuwa hapa na watu because we need to talk about these things. Lakini mimi nataka kuuliza nyinyi wawili because you guys are very educated na nini. Mimi nashindwa na maybe mnaweza ni educate. Maybe mimi ndo nimepotea. Sijui hii kitu yenye mnasema ati mtu alipotea, sijui mtu alisema nini, mtu alifanya nini. Do we have a government? Do we really have a government yenye inatupeleka mahali tunafaa kwenda? Because Njiru, I believe, and even you, Mr. G, most of the time that we talk with you, unakuanga uko job. Do we have a government? Do we really have a government? And I want to ask both of you guys, yes, nimetoka kidogo, I had to do whatever, my daughter ananikimbizanga, hapa ni marathon. But do we really have a government? And if we do have a government, Mr. G, I know where you work. Do you have a government that actually you say that this is my government and I know I'm okay? Njiru, outside where you are, kidogo, outside where you are, do you also have a government that you say that this is my government? That actually I'm so proud that my government is what they're doing and I can correct them. Kidogo tu. Kidogo.
Let me explain a little bit. Kabla Mr. G akuje. You see, this is how I take governance. You see, for somebody to rule, he doesn't need to. You don't need to support him. Like as an individual, for Ruto to rule Kenya, he doesn't need my support. And another thing is that for my standards of grading a government, they are usually a bit higher. Number one, for me to say that I have a government, I have to look at incremental changes over time, mostly on basic products. So those are the things which I have to see. And then what are you doing on unification? Because at the end of the day, you cannot work with a divided government. What are you doing on unification? So when I look at these two things, I discredit this government, and they don't need our authority to govern. They can govern the way they want.
But let me ask you a question, Mr. Thank you.
I wanted to explain the issue, like when I talk about
I want to ask you a direct question. Do you have a government?
That's what I'm explaining. Allow me give you details. Like for example, last year, sugar was around 200 and something. Right now, I'm hearing sugar is 400, close to 500. Prices of basic commodities, ni kupanda zinapanda tu. And the only thing which changed was kubadilishana rungu. That is the only thing which changed. Then for this year, university students are paying more in the university. People cannot access basic funding in the university, which is actually the engine of producing more democratic leaders. From there, how is the philosophical ethos of the nation? How are the leaders handling themselves towards implementing their own campaign document? So those are the things which I judge people on. Remember, even a wrong government is a government.
The problem.
Even a wrong government. 1 minute. Even a wrong government. 1 minute, Mato. Even a wrong government is a government. The issue is it's unsatisfactory. That's what is there. So to me, the government is there, but it is unsatisfactory. It does not meet the minimum threshold. It does not meet the minimum threshold at the feeling of the Kenyan mwananchi. And that is the problem. When a government declares that it is only for our shareholders, it is not a unifying government. That is not a government for Azimio. It's a skewed government to a specific amount of people. It is there, and to me, I think it's a skewed government. It's a government only for those people who voted for them, if they exist. But for me, it is not. For me, it's not my government. It could be the government of Kenya.
Okay, can I say something, Mr. Mato?
Yeah. You're coming next. I don't know where Richie has gone. I know Richie nilikuwa nimepotea kidogo. Yes, I understand. Nimechomoka kidogo.
What amefanyia ongea?
Leo nataka kuwa mkali. Today I want us to be hard.
Then before kwe mkali Mato, wacha basi pia mimi nijibu kwanza hiyo swali and then ukwe mkali. Wacha nijibu hiyo swali pia mimi.
Okay.
Alafu ndio mkali. Yeah. I think on what Mr. Njero amesema with your question, Mato, tukienda kwa constitution tunaambiwa kuwa ile judgment ambayo imetolewa na Supreme Court inasimama. For us, like kama mimi, I'm not proud of this government. I'm not proud of it kwa sababu sikuichagua. Na wakati hata wametugia kura wakaingia pale kwa governance, hakuna kitu wametusaidia. Wameleta mess in our country. But ukweli ni kuwa it is a government iliyoko pale na Supreme Court, and it is allowed in our constitution. But kumbuka hawa watu walituibia kura. So I'm not proud of this government. But it is a government in Kenya. That's why mtu wote akiitishwa kama president anaitishwa from any other country aende, ni Ruto anaenda kwa sababu is the president of Kenya. Even though alituibia. Njiru. Let us go back to Mato is back.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. G. You can invigorate my mind a little bit. I know you wanted to ask me some questions, which is okay. I'm here. I can answer the ones which I can be able to handle. So
yeah, just allow Mato kwanza kuna kitu akwenda kutugonga nayo and then we go back to our question.
Yeah. Mato ni msewa kucheza ma video.
Hapana, napigana na mtoto yangu bwana.
Okay, no problem. So anyway, Mr. G, you can go ahead.
I want you guys to actually, because there's a question that I've been asking myself, Mr. G, na nyinyi wote, and I'm so glad that Richie ako hapa hivi today. Sijui kama anatusikia ama pia ameamua kucheza kama mimi. I had to leave for niko na vitu zangu. But hii ndio kitu nataka tujiulize sisi, especially watu wenye tumekuwa hapa hivi, wenye tuko hapa hata sasa hivi. Do we really have a government? What are we doing? Because mimi naweza kuja hapa hivi nipigane na nyinyi, watu waseme mato nini. Okay, like when you look at the government that we have, especially hata kwa hii channel, people will think Mato ni mtu mkora, Mato anapenda anakuwaga very stern and whatever. But that also is the governance. You see, when you look at Mr. G, mali anafanyanga job yake, every time that I've ever seen Mr. G akiwa kwa show, he's always at work. And he is always, and when you see at his work, you will even see people behind him wakiongea, wakifanya job. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you guys, I mean, hakuna lady hapa hivi, let's just say gentlemen, but I know there's ladies on the side. Are we going to play this game? And if we're going to play this game, how do we want to play it? Mr. G, Njiru, how are we going to play this game? Are we going to play it a real game that tukienda watu wakienda kwa Kikuyu tugege ikuko inafanyika, tukienda wapi iko hivi inafanyika? how are we going to play this game if really we want to play this game? Or we stop playing the game and we understand each other that...
Mato, I think your question is clear.
Is it? I hope it is, my daughter.
It's clear, it's clear. Mr. G, go ahead. Mr. G, go ahead. You're sorry, Kosawa.
Okay.
Mato, when listen to what you have said, I think to me, naweza sema kwa ni sisi wenyewe tunajaribia. It is we ourselves, we are failing. Kwa sababu, look at this issue kama the talks, ambazo zimeletwa sahi, bipartisan talks ambazo baba anataka aongee na huyu mlevi, huyu mwizi, Ruto. Ni sisi watu wa Azimio ambao it is as if we are desperate, we need this thing so much. And yet in watu wetu ambao waliuliwa. Na tukienda kwa the same talks, I don't see anything that will come ambayo itakuwa profitable kwetu. The talks
Mr. G, either way Nanjiru, simchukue tu kidogo. I have to finish something. Kuna kinaendelea hapa.
Tuko chonjo. Wewe malizia pole tuko hapa. Wewe kazi yako ni kuingiza watu. Wacha mambo mingi.
Kuna mtu anataka kuingia. Kama kuna mtu anataka kuingia,
you look at your platform, unaangalia tu platform yako. Unaweza hata enda date saa hii, ina shida. Nimekupea ruhusa, enda date.
Saitan. Ni saitan kabisa. Anyway, sasa hebu nyinyi chapeni basi yenyu. I don't sijui Richie amefanya nini, lakini it's okay. It's allowed.
Okay, sawa. Mr. G, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, for us ukiangalia this issue, our people died. Na our people waliuliwa bila makosa yote. We are allowed in our constitution to picket. Tuko allowed for freedom of speech na everything. But wakati our people walitoka nje ku picket, wakauliwa by direct shoot. It was shoot to kill, ambao wamekuwa directed by Ruto kuwa watu wetu. Now, imefika wakati wa talks, ni sisi tunaonekana we are desperate with this thing. Ni kama tunaitaka sana. Hawa watu wengine hata ni kama hawana haja, but sisi ni kama tunaitaka sana. Na tukiangalia vizuri on these talks, vitu ambazo zimewekwa mbele sana, it is about cost of living. Na sisi tulibiwa kura yetu. Our votes were stolen. Sasa ni lini tutai address this issue of electoral justice? If at all itakuwa tunakimbilia hii mambo ya talk. Nakumbuka talk sahi wameletewa hawa watu wa Zakayo, wamekatalia kuwa wanataka waongee kuhusu mambo ya officer of the opposition leader. Naboko tukaenda manufaa kabisa. Sisi kwetu ilikuwa ni kuhusu mambo ya electoral justice, because our people died. Watu wameuliwa kabisa. Mbona sisi tunaonekana tuko desperate sana na hii talks? What is it we are going to achieve on this talk? Kenya with love.
Let me take it. Wacha Kenya with love ashughulikie mrembo kidogo. So, Mr. G, you need to know that Azimio principles and masses, I think for some time we have been working on the paths which are not connecting. I'm double sure that masses do not support this talk. And talks is one of the most unpopular thing you can talk about Kenya now, because Kenyans know that talks will achieve nothing on either sides. By the way, it's not only on Azimio alone. Even the Kenya Kwanza populists, I'm not talking of leaders. So when we are talking of talks, this is a big weeks talks, and I don't know to what level they are going. Na kuna kule tulianzia by the kuharibu hivi vitu, and that is why mimi nasemanga ile speech ya baba ya mazishi ya Kimanzi, ile bibi ya Kimanzi, there are some signals which we started showing there which were not very good. Huyu Ruto namjua sana, najua tu anaongea tu, najua atanyamaza tu, namwangalia tu, like you know, even when an animal is attacking, there is something we call venom. Like, but if you want to tame a snake, you deal with the venom, because without the venom, you lose your existence with other predators around you. You lose your existence. So what there is that if we are not careful, all these talks which have been proposed here, it's a dehorning process by Ruto. It's a devenomization process by Ruto. Because at the end of the day, it is not easy to start, because you know, when you go into talks and you withdraw, no matter at what stage you reached, there is a description which is put on you: dissatisfaction, sumbua, or no, vitu kama, like somebody can be able to heap a blame on you at whatever state you are in a dialogue. And if you follow even the Southern Sudan issue, why they have not even been able to go very fast, they have been having such a times. I don't know if you have followed the Ricky Machar and the Salva Kiir issues. But Mr. G, I hope you have followed that issue. If you follow Ricky Machar and this guy, wamekuanga na talks, and their talks have been there from 2009. Sio sahi wanakuanga na talks, kasispa yakanatokezea sijui nini. So, and this is what Azimio principles should know. This game plan of talks is only beneficial to Zakayo, and it is giving him lifeline and breath to take his presidency to term and plan for the next attack and leave you with no strategy. So these talks, in fact, to Azimio. You know, every time tunakujanga hapa tunasema Zakayo must go, Zakayo must go. But every day we come here is an added day to Zakayo presidency. Our presidency is around 1350 days or so. No, around the 1700, I mean, days, a presidency. Every day we come here is a subtraction in that 1700. Every day we come here is a subtraction. This guy is enjoying the full benefits of a presidency, whether illegal, illegitimate, wherever it is, he is enjoying. So the big test on all these things we are doing, they happen in the start of a presidency. And I want to confirm here, by allowing this presidency to kick off, we lost 95% of our traction power moving forward. Ni vile saa zingine si vizuri kusema vitu zingine, but whatever we are chasing is not presidency, maybe reforms. As somebody who can think and see beyond, I don't think we are chasing presidency. And I think, Mr. G, you need to tell me that if the concept, because when you agree to talks, partly you have agreed on legitimacy, because talks have no partners. You have agreed to talks because you have agreed you want to talk with the president. That's one. So those are some of the underpinning issues which are not making this journey very clear. And that is why we are actually doing a lot of work, ton of job, whereas like serious governments which want to change their government, they are doing it overnight. Like Nigeria did it overnight with no mandamano, with nothing. So if people are aggrieved and they think they want to change their government, you cannot use this style. So to me, this style is a painkiller. You know, we have to be clear and candid. This style is a painkiller, and I hope it is not a style to hope, to give people hope to go to 2027, hoping that there could be some reforms which will happen along the way. I hope that is not the style, because And it is one thing which, because I've been talking with people, if we will, and people form government, if you arrange yourself well, ukijipanga vizuri, people form government. Hata hii serikali ya Zakayo, we can defeat it in 2027. We can defeat it even in the ballot. Lakini not in this strategy ya maongeo na nini, because hii strategy ya maongeo is dehorning and removing your venom. In fact, it is said that, although I don't know if some scholars say, that if Raila Odinga maintained his original ethos, like the ones which he was having from 1997 to 2018, there could have been a possibility he could have made this government. I don't deny, yes, I know they combined with Uhuru. But to me, I do not think that if the whole scenario of Raila Odinga and Uhuru combining was for them to produce a presidency, and we were unable to produce it, it was not good enough. We wasted good efforts of that Muse. We wasted good efforts of that Muse. And if there was a way in which Raila Odinga was supposed to exit Kenyan politics, he was supposed to exit Kenyan politics as a president. So, to make Raila Odinga to be in this state in Kenyan politics, I blame a lot of people. And I started to blame a lot of people. Because Raila presidency was supposed to be there. But it was crippled deliberately. Go ahead, Mr. G.
Yeah, thank you. What I want to talk is the same thing about Mwongea Mwisho. Ukisema it was deliberately. You know, Mr. Jiru, we thought that we had deep state, but ukweli ni kuwa the deep state left us long ago. I think ilituachia kule 2018 hapo mwanzo wakati Ruto alikuwa shashika watu kabisa, but we never knew. We thought that we had a deep state, but deep state had already gone. So wakati we put our effort tukijua kwa deep state will guard us ama itatusaidia, tuijisahau. Na hatuwezi sema kuwa baba lose that momentum ambao alikuwa nao kwanza kitambo. Baba has always been strong, but the problem is kuwa the people ambao amewasaidia ambao alikuwa na bank on wamembetray. Most of the people hao watu ambao unaona hawa ni watu ambao baba amewachukua wakiwa hawana anything from down, akabank on them, expect watu watamsaidia, but those people wamembetray mpaka mwisho. On the last election we had enough ambao ilikuwa inatupatia that presidency, but kumbuka those people did deliberately that the thing ambao Mwongea Mwisho, it was deliberately baba amepoteza kitu kwa sababu ya hao watu. Kwa sababu kama ni watu, tulikuwa na watu ambao walikuwa wanapigia kura na walitupigia kura. It was just our team ambayo ilikuwa pale mbele ambayo guard our election. That team failed us. Na tulikuwa na kina Matiang'i pia alikuwa pale. Tulikuwa na the minister of IT alikuwa pale. Those are the people ambao wange stand firm na sisi. But those guys they let us down. Walikuwa chini. Now you brought in the issue about the Niger, hii mambo ya COP ambayo happen overnight. You know, Njiru, for us hatuwezi jiweka kwa that state kwa sababu for us it cannot happen overnight. Those guys walikuwa wamehusiana na nini, wamehusika na military was in this thing, but for us, you know, we are the people, the citizen of Kenya. Sisi hatuna bunduki, hatuna silaha ya kupigana na watu, so for us we need to use something ambayo inaweza tusaidia tukachukua that power, na the only thing ambayo tulikuwa tunatumia ni kitu ambacho constitution, maandamano ndio inaweza kupeleka pale. But now wakati tumefika kwa maandamano, the guy ameamua kuua watu wetu. The guy suspend the constitution na kama kushutu watu wetu kabisa kiwaua. And you know, to bring fear into something, lazima uwe watu. Kama hii kitu ambacho tuna push for maandamano, just to bring fear into watu waogope, ilikuwa mpaka uwe watu. So Ruto used the same strategy. Akaua watu, wakati aliua watu, fear ikaingia kwa our leaders. Unaona kina Raila sasa wanasema kwa twende kwa talks, kwa sababu gani? Wanaogopa watu kufa. But one thing ambayo tunafaa tujue ni kwa if we want our power, obvious kutakuwa na bloodshed. Hiyo kitu hatuwezi ignore. Obviously itakuwa bloodshed. But now for us this thing to happen, Mr. Njiru, Do we have another alternative? Kwa sababu sasa tushaogopa.
Let me tell you, there is a very big alternative. There is a very big alternative. And we always explain those strategies here. It's only that I don't know. We have a very big strategy. Strategy is simple. If you want to bring Zakayo down, don't obstruct him. It's that simple. It's, you know, Zakayo doesn't have, unajua akona kiburi sana. He thinks that things are working well in his direction. What we need to do, and I don't know why we are not learning this. What we need to do is not maandamano any longer. It's very simple. Leave Zakayo alone. Let him devour people as he want. Wacha sukari ifike 1,000 kama itafika. People will come and respond to him. But you see, there's idea whereby vitu zinakuwa kidogo, then we have a guided maandamano. You see, Baba is actually helping Ruto in a way. I don't know if Mr. G, you'll agree with that, but Baba is helping Mr. Ruto in a way. Unaona historia kuitisha maandamano, tutakuwa na maandamano hii siku. But if we allowed Zakayo to continue shooting himself, maandamano could have just erupted by itself. But sasa saa hii, there is an element like Baba is controlling people on behalf of Ruto. And he is actually giving Ruto that bread right to survive, even with a failed state. And he's even getting that bonus that he can even talk with the adversary. I'm telling you, we will come to realize that the way we handled this thing, we actually gave Ruto more space to do things which he was supposed to do. We are not supposed to do anything. Personally, I've audited and I've seen how things they are. Mtu ende akafanya vitu zake. Si watu wa Mount Kenya wamekula mchere. Leave those people alone. Na Zakayo wao. Let them suffer if there is any suffering which will be there. Let there not be any maandamano. Kama fertilizer itafika ngiri 10, wacha ifike ngiri 10. Now Kenyans will come and react for their own volition. But this idea whereby Kenyans want to use Baba as a shield also, because pia hata sisi tumekuwa na tabia mbaya, and I have to say it here candidly. Kura ya Baba inaibiwa, tunaona Kenyans cannot get angry enough to even rescue that thing. But when things are very problematic, tunaanzia kuita Baba to become our shield. Baba has also to reach a level whereby he doesn't agree on the Kenyan issues of becoming their shield any longer. Because why should he becoming a shield? And some of these people are the ones who are even addressing him badly. So ile kitu iko, if there is a way in which, or if there's a Zakayo government will make lifestyle in Kenya ikuwe mbaya sana. So mimi hata ningeulizwa hiyo timu ya Zakayo ya Karonzo ambayo itaenda maongeo, mimi na propose we withdraw from that maongeo. Our Azimio principles watafute vitu zingine za kufanya. They leave Zakayo alone. Let Zakayo destroy the country. There's no need of allowing our people to die. And we are not mounting a threshold enough to bring a monumental understanding that Zakayo can fall. To me, I do not think that there is any Kenyan who deserves to die and still Zakayo spends another day in power. To me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But if we allow that anger to build up based on disastrous policies which Zakayo will put there, then people by their own volition, they can do it. I would request Baba, you should not guide this maandamano. Achane na Zakayo peke yake. Zakayo will heave, Zakayo will destroy himself. But unaona historia tunasema tutakuwa na maandamano sahi. I think hiyo huruma ya Baba, it is also destructive to him. Anahurumia Wakenya na saa zingine Wakenya wengine wanatusi yeye. I know he has that love, but he has also, pia mtoto akililia wembe mupe ajikate. So this idea of whereby we have to be using Baba as a shield has to stop. His presence was stolen is okay. We have been unable to rescue it because I do not see a concept of rescuing this election. Because if we had to rescue this election, there could be a concept about it. Hata huyu ambaye anasema anawaleta pamoja Olesegun, he could have talked about a banged election. Kenya Kwanza sikusikia wakiongea story ya banged election, even hata kwa hii maongeo. So in other words, we are not dealing here with a banged election. And I would like somebody here to come and explain to me how we can still rescue a Raila presidency, even in any case it is going to be there. Na tusijengee watu hope tu. People need to be given a platform and a master plan of how things are shaping. So bwana Mr. G, because unajua politics without honesty sio mzuri. Hiyo ndio inakufanyanga even in 2027 or in the next election 10% of your supporters abandon you because they think that you mismanaged them previous time. So that is why we have also to trade very cautiously here. Our objectives and our mission has to be clear. If it is about rescuing Baba win, let Kenyans know and let people know that that's our mission. And we forget about this issue of cost of living. Hiyo tuachane nayo kabisa. But if it is about cost of living, we be clear to Kenyans tuambia maneno ya uchaguzi tumeachana nayo, tunataka unga ishuke chini. Objectives have to be clear. But iwezekani tunasema ni story ya unga sijui ni nini. We have to be clear. If it is about Baba win, wacha maandamano ikuwe clear na watu isemekane we want to rescue Baba win. Kama if that is what he want. But we cannot
add something. Just to add something on that, Mr. Njiru, you know, in fact, Ruto, he's taking advantage of Raila kwa sababu anataka apate his idea. That's why unapata watu wake wengi wakisimama, do not talk about election justice. They're telling us that sisi tupatiane alternative. That is what they are talking about, those people of Zakayo. Why? Because they want to take those ideas from Baba, alafu ikifanya kazi, in fact, ikiweza tu kupita, waweza kufaulu na those ideas, watasema au ndo wamefaulu. So they don't want Baba to get this thing. Na kumbuka, strategy ndio kitu huwa inafanya mtu ashinde. Our strategy imefail kwa sababu Baba was fighting for his electoral justice, for his win ambayo ilikuwa imeibiwa. But on the way, amechange.
Lakini Mr. nikuulize swali tu. I mean, just what
yes,
you were saying. Just a very good question. And I'm so sorry, guys. But swali tu. Mr. G, you know, unajua wewe ni OG hapa hivi, but let me ask you a question. Why would you think Ruto could take advantage of Raila? Kwani unajua, I had a conversation with some people, and actually let me not wacha, because mimi napiganaga hapa hivi na watu nikiwaambia ati mimi nakaaga hapa hivi nimejifit. Watu wafai kuwa hold on, let me do this real quick. Just a second.
What a message.
Yeah, so kidogo acha nimalize kwanza. I'm challenging Mr. G to something. You know, I normally tell people not to, especially tukifanya show yetu, watu wasijifiche. G, let me ask you a question. Why do you think, because I had a big fight today, and by the way, I want you to tell me this. Why do some people think that Ruto is smarter than Raila and is smarter to them, more than them, that kuna kitu wanapigana hapa nayo, because hizi vitu zote zenye zinaendelea.
You cannot talk about smartness hapa. There's nothing like smartness. You see, smartness and deception. I don't know what you mean, because You know, maybe I want to ask you a question. Let me begin by asking you a question. Can you tell me the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
Knowledge is knowing what knowledge is what I know and what you can never change. Wisdom is what is actually, there's a very thin line between knowledge and wisdom, because also wisdom is also knowing, being wise, but also knowing at the same time. But knowledge is what you already know. So like someone like Mr. G, hii job yake anafanyanga kila siku, tunampataga naye hapa hivi.
Okay, I think you are very difficult student. Let me explain to you in just simple one. Knowledge, you acquire it either through reading, through being told by somebody. You acquire it. Wisdom is from nature, or you are born with it. That's how it is. So what happens is that you can be knowledgeable, but you can be an idiot. But it is not possible to have wisdom and you are an idiot. That is why we have educated fools. You understand? So that is the meaning of those two conjunctions. So having a PhD or having scholarly papers doesn't claim that you are wise. Even a muhenga, who has never seen a book, can be having a more information which can momentarily change a society. So when I say that, when you brought the issue of smart, so I want now to to bring your question down. We cannot talk of smartness here, because smartness is being robust in your thinking towards doing the right thing. That is being smart. But when we are talking about Ruto and the way he handles people, and the way he can be able to even take an agenda to them, which will not even help them. That is deception. So please, can you now place your question, understanding the meaning of all those things I explained to you. So don't, when you are referring to me, Ruto, don't give me smart, because I will not answer that. So now you can paraphrase your question.
Okay, I think I did. You've answered very well. So I believe you actually understood what I was saying. I'm gonna throw it to, if at least you had the ability to understand and really answer me in a way and question me. I want to throw it back to Mr. MG, because I think Mr. MG, kama woman you understand, pia Mr. MG, I mean you understand. So let me hear what Mr. MG has, because if you had something to answer, then maybe there's a question that actually came to the point. MG.
Yeah, Mato, I will agree with Njiru that there's no wisdom here. Praise sema kwa nani yuko wise, that Zakayo yuko wise. No. But huyu jamaa kuna ile jina ambako inatumika na nyoka inaitwa ngaje? Ile jina ambako inatumika una connect with a snake. Inaitwa ngaje?
Cunning.
Yeah, he's cunning, the guy. And this guy anataka kuchukua opportunity ili aitishe mkutano na Raila to get information so that he can use those information ambayo atapata from Raila to govern his presidency. Ndio wakati atakuwa ameshinda atasema mimi nilishinda, but kumbuka tena akianguka the guy still come back na atuambia kwa ni Raila amefanya akashindwa. Na kumbuka jamaa ameshindwa kabisa from now. Hata sasa ukiangalia vile inaendelea ameshindwa, mpaka kuna time aliitisha public akasema kwa public wamsaidie on the way ataweza ku reduce this cost of living. Sio kama nakumbuka hiyo kitu. Alitisha public kwa kuja msaidie. The guy ameshindwa. So he just used his cunning ways aidha kupata information from Raila alafu aitumie. Na in case ikishindwa tena still bado atakuja ambia watu kwa ni baba ndo amefanya akashindwa. Look at what is happening sasa wakati ameenda Central. Central hajana na any agenda. Agenda ni kuwa anaambia watu kuwa baba ni mbaya. Agenda ni kuportray picha mbaya ya baba pale. Ndio sababu anasema kuwa hataki any handshake. Sisi hatujasema tunataka handshake with this government. That's why I'm against even this talks ambayo tunaongea. But kule ameenda anaambia watu that's why I'm against even this talks ambayo tunaongea. But kule ameenda anaambia watu kuwa baba anataka kuingia kwa government.